Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about some news coming out of Russia and the Russian leadership. And it certainly raised a lot of eyebrows. And we're going to talk about why that statement was said, what it was intended to convey, and why you should probably really understand the intent of it and maybe not worry about it too much. So, there's a guy, Kadyrov. He's one of Putin's commanders, to keep this simple. He's in charge of the Chechens. And he made a very provocative statement. And he did qualify it by saying it was his personal desire, not like it was Russian policy. But the statement coming from somebody that high up, that closely tied to Putin, it raised a lot of eyebrows. He said that once Russia finishes in Ukraine, well, Poland's next. It's basically what he said. He said that they should do a referendum in Poland and that he and his men can't wait to go there and all of this stuff. Okay, so the first thing you need to know is that this guy is very boisterous, historically. It's the way he talks. And he was the perfect person to deliver this message for propaganda purposes. Let's run through what he's actually saying. He's saying that, as they approach the 1-year anniversary of their 3-day special military operation, they're ready to pick a fight with another country, even though, they're not even close to winning this one yet. They're looking to start another one. That doesn't make sense, right? Even in this weird, bizarre situation in which Russia captures all of Ukraine, going to Poland next just means they lose Ukraine. Everybody has to remember, they haven't got to the hard part yet. They're still in the invasion phase. They haven't gotten to the occupation part. They haven't reached the hard part yet. And they don't have the troops. They're going to have to stage an occupation, and they don't have the troops. Right now, if a Ukrainian wants to fight and they end up on the wrong side of Russian lines, all they have to do is cross over and they get to fight conventionally. They just have to make it to the Ukrainian military. Once Russia, in this wild theory, has captured all of Ukraine, there's nowhere for them to go and do that. Which means instead of facing the conventional, unconventional hybrid that they're facing now, that person has no alternative other than to fight unconventionally behind the lines. They have to engage in that type of warfare. And based on what we have seen from the Russian military, they are not ready for that. They are not ready for that. There are a lot of people who are like, this offensive means Russia's going to win. Russia, they haven't even won the first phase. They haven't gotten to the hard stuff yet. But that part right there is why this statement was made. That's why it was made. The idea that the reinforcements and that this offensive is going to capture all of Ukraine and put them in a position where not just have they have captured everything, they're ready to fight against Poland next. It is to degrade morale and confidence on the Ukrainian side. That's why this statement was made. So if you're going to carry it forward, please include that. You don't want to unintentionally carry Russian propaganda forward. and put it in a situation where it might reach people that it might work on. The reinforcements that they're bringing in, yeah, things are going to get rough. They do not. They're not bringing in enough to take the country and then fight Poland. That's not happening. It is a boisterous position to instill fear on the Ukrainian side. It's propaganda. That's what it's there for. And aside from that, I want to point out, as somebody who, before the shooting started over there, was very much like, yeah, I don't think the Ukrainian military is going to cave the way everybody's saying it's going to. I am certain that Russia does not want any of Poland. They may have designs on extending their empire and colonizing Poland again. They may actually have those designs. There are a lot of estimates that suggest that. But if I was Russia, I would want that information out there because it keeps Poland on the defensive. So just because those estimates exist doesn't mean that they're true. Even if they tried and they went forward with it and they went after Poland, and we're just talking about Poland on its own right now, it's worth remembering that ever since 1999, they've been upgrading, updating, training, cross-training, getting real doctrines together. Russia is not up to that. That they would not stand against Poland, especially in their current state. It's also worth remembering that the reason all of that started in 1999 is because Poland joined NATO. Going after NATO, a NATO country, that's fighting all of NATO. Russia can't handle that, and they know it. This statement is purely for propaganda purposes. They may actually want to do it, but it coming out at this time in this way is meant to degrade Ukrainian morale. That's what it's there for. The idea that on the heels of a successful offensive that may or may not materialize after a year of fighting in an operation that was supposed to take a few days, that their next move before actually maintaining an occupation and bringing the country in, their next move would be to pick a fight with a very professional military that also happens to be a member of NATO. That's not a thing. It's propaganda. So when you hear this, when you see it, when you see this message carried forward, remember its goal. Its goal is to weaken the resolve of the Ukrainian military. That's why this statement was said. So while you may want to carry it forward and say, look, like we said, Putin wasn't going to stop in Ukraine, that's fine, okay? If you want to go that route with it, that's fine. But be very conscientious of the fact that the goal is to have that message carried forward credibly, as if it's a real possibility, because they want the Ukrainian soldiers to think this new offensive, well, it's going to take the whole country. So if you're going to carry it forward, make sure that however you do it debunks that notion, because they are not the path that he laid out in that statement. That's not real. That's the stuff of fairy tales. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.